Have you ever struggled with belonging? Ever moved to a new area and had difficulty fitting in with a new group? A lot of us struggle with knowing what the group culture is, the norms, maybe the accepted behaviors. And for a lot of us, I think the reality is that until our behaviors change, until we think, look, act, speak like the insider group, we really are on the outside. Maybe our beliefs have to change as well until we belong. In fact, this is very true in church world a lot of times, as we expect people to behave, first of all, and believe right before they can be a member, be part of the in-group. You know, it's interesting that Jesus took a different approach to this. Think about the calling of the disciples. Come follow me. Come be a part of my group. Belong. And I will make you fishers of men. I will see that your behavior eventually changes and your beliefs as well. In fact, we could say that Jesus changed the continuum, the traditional one that we've had, which is behave, believe, belong. For him, it was belong first of all. And as you do that, your beliefs will change and eventually your behavior. We even see some dysfunctional behavior right up until the time of the crucifixion. Peter, for example, whacking off a servant's ear. And I think the emerging church has done a fairly good job of raising some of these issues, of allowing people to belong and move toward Christ. Now, yesterday I read an article, an interesting critique of the emerging church movement. By the way, the emerging church is a misnomer of sorts because there's so many people that come under this brand, and I think a lot of people just want to write off the entire movement, which in a sense is a group of individuals, church planters who are trying to engage the postmodern world, trying to relate the gospel. And there are some genuine concerns for those that are still deeply entrenched in the modern world. Some of those concerns are very valid. As I said, I read this fabulous critique yesterday, and I'd like to just share the opening paragraph to that, and maybe we'll talk a bit more about it as I go through this. It's by Ed McKenzie. It's called Mission in the Emerging Church, Pauline Reflections on a New Kind of Missiology. The emerging church movement is best seen as an ecclesiological and missiological response to postmodern culture. Three key themes illustrate the movement's attempt to contextualize the gospel in this setting: an embrace of mystery, a stress on journey, and a commitment to conversation. Now, while these themes can claim some biblical and theological warrants, Paul's missiological approach in Galatians assumes a coherent gospel, a call to conversion, and a commitment to proclamation, a trio of themes that provide a necessary balance to approaches to mission in the emerging church. Now, the traditional church in the modern world has some serious concerns with allowing people to deal with mystery or a conversation or a journey toward the truth, because church gets very messy. And in the postmodern world where people believe almost everything and anything and they don't believe in any kind of solid bedrock or foundation, the fact that the gospel is true, the fact that Jesus calls us to a point of conversion and a coherent proclamation of the gospel, that is a very valid concern. And in a sense, when you're dealing with massive change, as we are now, as we move from a modern to a postmodern way of thinking, it's easy for us to either entrench ourselves in the old ways and just expect, time to stop, or, we can fall into another ditch, which is embrace everything in postmodernity and stray away from an orthodox presentation of the gospel. So I think the author is very clear that we need to stay in the middle of the road on this one. While we need to allow mystery, allow people to belong, allow people to journey, to have a conversation and embrace a certain amount of mystery, at some point in time, we do need to have a solid conversion. We need to see behaviors change. We need to see discipleship change. So I think the emerging church is doing a fairly good job, at least some in the emerging church. I would say the revisionists are in some pretty dangerous territory, those who are actually tampering with orthodoxy. But some are asking some great questions and allowing people to actually move toward discipleship in a better way than the modern church approach has taken. So my challenge to you today is to think in terms of belonging. What does that look like for you in church world, in your in-groups, your people that you're working with? Are they allowed to belong? Are they allowed to journey? Are you a safe place for them? Do you allow for a safe place environment for them to journey toward Christ? Are you allowing for them to embrace a certain amount of doubt, mystery in their journey? Are you allowing for great conversations to take place? And of course, ultimately, are you bringing them to a point of conversion? Are you bringing them to a point where you are calling them to embracing an ultimate truth? And so move your continuum. Instead of having it as behavior first, belief, and then belonging, Change it to be belong, come follow me, be a part of my in-group. And as you do that, your beliefs will change as we begin to have conversations, and eventually your behaviors will change. God bless you as you begin to engage with people and allow them to journey toward Christ. Make sure you call them to a higher level and integrate discipleship into your approach, whatever the method may be. And you may just be a orthodox emergent. Hey, God bless you. Have a great